So, ma'am, let's start with what did you study?
So I did my master's in strategic management, and
Okay.
my undergrad degree was in business management. After that, I went to Harvard. I did my leadership in politics from Harvard, and also I did my sustainable finance and investments. So actually, in terms of my education, I have sort of focused more on the business aspect of it, because my family always said that politics or social life, as and when it happens, it unfolds great, but always have your business degrees with you and your business acumen sort of perfect it very well, so that sort of will help you throughout. So that's why my education has been more on the business management and the strategic part of it, but I've also studied leadership in politics.
So, you think that it is very important for women to take care of how they come up in life and take care of finances, or and they should study it so that they are more independent and do well in life.
Absolutely, because education is the fundamental, and you never know what circumstance comes to you in life. So you always have to be prepared, and eventually it all sort of boils down to our rosy roti. So I think being women or men for that matter, women, because everyone's highly educated today and has equal opportunities today in the society. So it's very important to have a solid degree and a solid base as well, be it in a well settled job or be it in a business.
How did you think of joining politics? Was it because of your background? That means because of your dad, or you think no, you were really interested?
So, growing up, I have seen politics all throughout. I always thought maybe at a much later stage, maybe sort of post my 40s is when I would sort of venture into it, because by that time I would be a bit more settled. But those are, of course, plans, and nothing ever in life goes as per the plan. When I was 27 in 2019, that's when the opportunity came by. My grandmother had contested from this particular seat for Zilla Parishad, and she unfortunately passed away. And 3 months later, and then it was a women's seat. 3 months later, they all our karyakartas and all our voters, especially the youth, they came together, because I was working with them at the back end and for my educational institute work. That's when they all came together, and they, to my father and to everyone, and they said that we need a youth face and we need her to be in it. So then the time was very crucial at that time, because we had just faced a loss in our family and we
Right.
were sort of grappling with that. And when the opportunity came by, I had literally 2 days to decide. And then when I did, my father and my parents sat me down and they discussed with me the pros and the cons and the way my life is going to change. And I was somehow, there was a voice inside of me which was ready for it, and I went for it. And since then, it's been a good journey.
How did you start? What was the first post that you, or the first designation that
So
you?
I contested as a member for the member of Pune Zilla Parishad, and I had honestly, it's like 24th of May. I still remember is when the whole idea came to me. 27th of May is when I filed my nomination, and 24th June is my voting happened, and I won with the highest margin in the history of Maharashtra for Zilla Parishad.
Wow, that's quite an
And
achievement.
Zilla Parishad is ground level work. It's absolutely ground level. So at that point, my father, especially my mother, was like a strong, backhold supporting me. But my father always thought that you've studied in London, you've lived in the US, you've moved back. Are you sure? Because this is absolute ground level work. It's basic, everyday necessity like road, infrastructure, medical conditions, Zilla Parishad schools, employment. It's absolute ground level work. Are you ready to do that? Because you have to listen to people are going to come with you with 10,000 problems every single day. And I just don't know, I just had a voice in my head that I'm ready for it, and I went for it. And I actually didn't know, like in a month my whole life changed.
Somewhere it is in the blood.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Honestly, the fact that I'm sitting in front of you and speaking, I think it's growing up and seeing my father and my grandfather speak, listening to all those conversations we've had at home with my mother. And now that I'm married, of course, all of the conversations that I have with my husband. So I feel it is of course there in the blood. It is there in that everyday grooming. So it's never like a one full day where you wake up and you say that, I'm there. It's that every single day that matters.
You also married in a very, very influential family to the Thakres. Your daughter-in-law of Bala Sahib Thakre, granddaughter-in-law. That's a very big, I would say, crown or the feather in your cap. How does that, help you or not help you in your journey?
So honestly, it's been a wonderful journey. It's been 2 beautiful years, and like I said, of course, the political ideologies are very different, but at the core, it's the same. It's serving people. It's being there for the people. The mechanisms, the way, the thoughts, the ideologies are prima facie different, but of course, we are also in BJP, is also a Hindutvavadi party who believes strongly in, and so does the Shiv Sena. So it's honestly a lot of give and take, a lot of information sharing, and a lot of experiences. I mean, it's beautiful, honestly. My grandfather-in-law, the kind of legacy he's built. Growing up, I've of course always seen it from the other side, but now of course seeing it as a family member and hearing, unfortunately, of course I can only hear all those memories. I mean, with every single day, there's no single day in the house that goes where he's not discussed, his thoughts not discussed, his memories are not spoken of. And it's beautiful, it's amazing.
Have you heard any of your friends or anybody saying something that really caught your heart about our country? Like, sometimes they just say something that is so good that we can connect. Okay.
I feel the warmth, because in our Indian culture, it's such a cohesive culture. It's such a warm culture where we've grown up in really big families, and everyone is so sort of attached to each other. I think for my friends from Europe or from the US, where it's a very independent lifestyle, I feel what they love about India and what sort of connects me at heart is the fact that the warmth we Indians have, even be it in terms of when we greet each other, even if we probably have not, like how we've just literally met for the first time, but we've heard of each other, but then the warmth which is there, that is what I think all the people in all my friends, in fact, in Europe and the US are really, they love that about India. And then the second most important thing is the food.
Yeah. So that pyar se khilana.
Of course.
That goes.
The hospitality.
So what happens? Why do all of you concentrate so much on going for these events? What is the thought process of the villagers when they want to invite you for this? What do they think? Ke shadi mein aana hai? Why would it be like that?
So it's a I can't really say a trend, but I feel in the rural areas, especially now, if I have to speak for Indapur, everyone there, it's like my family member is just not me, my husband, or my parents or my brother. Family members are each and every person staying in each and every village. So हमारे घर में जब शादी होती है, how we end up inviting our family members, that's how they consider us. So I would tell you, so that's why being there present, so it's like no matter how many weddings, no matter how many, sometimes a lot of birthdays, a lot of baby naming ceremonies, and a lot of these activities, they think that you are a family member of theirs. And that, like I said, that warmth, that connect, it's amazing. Like, that's so strong. That's what they feel. They really love you and they really connect with you at that level. That's why they want to invite you, for their ceremony. And I feel that's the whole beauty of rural politics, or the social life in the rural area, because that connect, and it's very raw, it's very unfiltered, it's very real. So that's why being present there, then there are days when we are doing 30 weddings, or we are doing like 20 other functions. It doesn't matter. Like, you start your day at 7 a.m., you're home by like 10:30, 11 in the night, but you don't feel even the inch of tiredness, because it's for your people, and the warmth and the love is amazing.
And they must be really happy looking at you or seeing you attend their functions. So.
Absolutely, because for them it's like once in a lifetime sort of an experience, because it's their wedding, in the family. Right. For us, we might attend 30 weddings, but for them it's like that one wedding, their son's wedding or their daughter's wedding, which is going to be like once in a lifetime experience. And when you actually go and grace that, for them it's very, very personal.